Hi everyone, welcome to the stream today. It's Miriam. I'm back with another user research interview. Today I'm chatting with Dustin Deal, realtor out in South Carolina, about his journey, and he was kind enough to share time with me today for my user research about QUOKA. Hey Dustin, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for taking time to bring me on and allow me to share a little bit about what I'm doing and who I'm becoming and the goals that I have set out for myself. And hopefully those goals that I've set for myself, I can serve others through those goals.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. As you know, I'm putting together this platform for entrepreneurs and founders, and I'm trying to understand everything that I can about you. And so this is really helpful to my user research so I can build the best product possible. There's no wrong or right answer with the things I'm going to ask you today. So I'm not testing you or anything like that.
Oh, man. Well, thank you. Like I said, thanks for taking the time to do this.
Yeah. So my first question is, do you belong to any entrepreneur communities?
So One Cup's a Million was one thing that I connected into here initially. However, I got hired on full time with Charleston rental properties, and so that kind of took most of the morning, or pretty much all, obviously Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. I needed to be able to have like a solid base, have some income coming in that it was stable so that I could support a lot of the other things that I was wanting to do. And so One Cup's a Million, and then before COVID, there was another little group. It was a Christian based entrepreneur with older men. And that was going to be really cool because one of the guys was a contractor, another guy was a real estate investor himself, and then one was my friend. Obviously, I'm pointing, but they're not here. And they gave us the opportunity to get together at a round table and just have conversation. And we were just starting to get things like how we wanted the meeting and minutes and the whole nine yards of just having like a framework, so you're not just blabbing, you don't just show up and you're wasting people's time. And then COVID happened. So and just with COVID and everything that started going, and it hasn't gotten back up. So I was connected to One Cup's a Million. That we didn't really have a name for the group. So other than that, though, I haven't been connected to anybody else. I will say this. There was one gentleman that has helped me out back home from North Carolina. His name is Rick, and Marketing Bunny is where he'd probably like to go by, the Marketing Bunny. And he helped create my website, because I was initially going to do I Buy Houses, and he helped create that website. So it's dustindeal.com. So anybody's welcome to go and look at it, what he did. He'd be interested in helping you as well. But so he's been kind of like a coach / mentor for me, and that's about it.
You have an awesome name, by the way, Dustin Deal. It's like such a great name for what you do.
Yeah, I joke around like, let's make a deal.
Totally. Okay, so these next questions are just a series of true or false. So being an entrepreneur is fun.
I'll go with true.
Being
I like
an entrepreneur.
trying to figure it out.
Being
just trying
an
to make it
entrepreneur
work.
is hard.
Yes, it is true.
Do you feel understood as an entrepreneur?
false.
Do you feel listened to as an entrepreneur?
Depends on who you're speaking to, but I would probably say most of the time false. I've found myself having to be know my audience well enough, so then you have to know who you speak, and I think that's almost a fault now because I'm changing. Instead of just being me, I'm like being somebody else, and that's a problem in a sense. I don't know if you struggle with that, Miriam, or if
For
anyone else
sure.
that's listening.
I definitely think that you are similar. A lot of other entrepreneurs feel the same way. Yes, you're not alone in that. And thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. What about this one? The people around you understand the problems and challenges that you face as an entrepreneur.
Oh man, I would say false. Like I said, I need to do a better job of probably speaking up. That could fall a little bit on myself.
Yeah, it's not easy to speak up and be understood. What about this one? Life as an entrepreneur is depressing at times.
Yeah, true, at times.
Do you feel pressure as an entrepreneur to be involved in communities online and in person?
Pressure. Yeah, I would say yeah. But, well, not necessarily pressure. I mean, maybe challenged because I would need to just trying to think about this, how I would say it. I needed a challenge to step into that so I can learn to be more outgoing and networking. I mean, because that's how you make your connections, or you have to put yourself out there to be able to make a connection. And if you're not willing to put yourself out there, you're too scared, or you're too whatever. You have too much anxiety, or you have too much of whatever it is. You have to teach yourself to work through that, right? Or you're not going to be able to conquer your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you enjoy helping others and solving problems?
Yes.
When it takes you a few days to reply to someone that's asking for your help, do you feel guilty?
Yes.
Do you feel pressured to appear to look like you know what you're doing as an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Do you always feel confident that you know what you're doing as an entrepreneur?
No.
Do you have people that you can speak to about your deepest thoughts and challenges about being an entrepreneur?
Yes. Thankfully, I do have a really close friend.
That's great. Do you feel comfortable asking for help when you need it?
That's in between. Yeah. At times, I know you yes or no answer, but that's I would think more of, is it there? Yes. Do I feel comfortable asking, not necessarily, because of, like, the question beforehand, I have a person to speak to. Like, I can speak to him about some of the challenges that we're having, but can he help me? Not necessarily, because he's going through his own challenges. So, and then it's like, all right, it means there has to be someone has to create another role so that it can be almost like their full-time job to think about someone else's problems, like.
Yeah. It's almost like,
And
why ask? You can't get the help you need. And
yeah.
then you're putting weight on their shoulders too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want to burden them with your problems. You want to be able to be a problem solver. You don't want to be the problem. You want to be the solution. And so then it's like a constant little cycle you start playing in your head with like even the smallest of things. And the smallest things they shouldn't matter. The phrase "kiss, keep it simple, stupid." I find myself constantly making things more complex than what it needs to be sometimes. I don't know if you. Yeah.
I do that all the time. I actually found out that the reason that I do that is because struggle is my comfort zone. So when things are just going really smoothly, it feels uncomfortable to me. And then I try to make them more complicated so that I feel comfortable, which is really bad.
No, I slowly have been seeing that in myself as well. And it's kind of crazy to think that it's like, Saturday evenings, like, all right, I've been working all week. Hey, let's work on this. And I'm like, no, I'm talking to myself here in my head, and I'm like, I don't necessarily feel like doing it, or you don't want to. So then you come up with some grand plans, like, hey, let's call my friends and go out and do this, and knowing good and well that they're gonna want to do A, B, and C, and it's like, all right, well, that's more money. One, two, that's money that you could be going towards the other things that you've set up for yourself that you said you wanted to achieve, and it's just a slippery slope. But okay, so to relate back to what you're saying is, I'm creating more chaos for myself when there could be less chaos if I just stayed at the house and read a book. You know what I mean? It's that simple, but I don't want it to be simple. I want to throw flames into the fire. I want to throw wood into the fire and make it interesting. No, can I do this? Can I do that? I'm like, all right, when are we gonna? You gotta grow up. Come on, it's time to. You know what needs to happen. You need to get it. You need to do it. So that's probably a conversation that I'm having with myself right now.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, did I say yes to that question?
Yeah, we got it. We got that documented. Well, what do you like best about being an entrepreneur? Why are you doing this?
Well, a couple of reasons. First, that's maybe a little selfish, I guess, right? I mean, you want to be able to eventually, you want to be able to control your own time versus someone else controlling your time. And then second, you want to build wealth. I may not be able to break it down correctly. I hope everybody else, so maybe you can ask questions to help my train of thought, like you can follow it. But third is that I want to be able to serve other people. So like our school system, the public education system, is literally teaching everyone how to be an employee. Everyone is being taught, if you go to K-12 school, you're getting taught how to be an employee or how to think. And that's that's okay. It's all right to have that and to have a baseline, so that way you can know what, you can make money for yourself when you grow up. But once you get out of high school, um, we don't have the right mindset. I feel like, at least for me personally, I don't know if other viewers can relate, but uh, there's a certain mindset that needs to be taught. And I feel like when we're in school, we're just, your job is to remember answers and to regurgitate certain things, versus being able to think critically for yourself and learn to create. So I would like to be able to create multiple jobs. And when I say that, hold on, because it's like I catch up to what I'm saying. You can be an entrepreneur and work for someone else and underneath them, because it's just all a mindset. And that's what I believe, is that you can work for someone else, but the objective is that the person above you wants to go somewhere else, and then the person below you wants to go somewhere else. So everyone has somewhere else where they want to go, and each person's helping them get to where their next step is. And so then cycle. So, like, for example, let's say you start at, how simplest example that I can have, a restaurant or a fast food place, and the person says he wants to be the manager within 2 years. Okay, well, first off, is it attainable? And so you're going to have a conversation with them. Say, I think it may be, but you're going to have to see how he works initially, how he grasps things, because you don't know each other at all. So that's going to take some time. All this stuff takes time, and so if we have really good managers and really good people in front of us, then your people are going to be more likely to succeed. However, we're not. Our community is we struggle from a relationship standpoint on being able to connect with other individuals. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Nathan, because that's what Nathan works with, as a loan coach, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that are listening who do with connections and deal with relationships. But being able to cultivate a really good relationship with your coworkers is what is super important. And that creating that cycle and that space to where you can listen to each other and know what the objectives are is going to allow that person to be like, oh, I can think, instead not micromanaging, but allowing the person to think for themselves and make their own decisions. As they move up, they're going to learn those things and those traits. And so, I mean, like I said, it's supposed to be just a cycle. And Miriam, I don't know if you can relate to that, or if you have an experience where you have seen something like that happen, that you can maybe speak to that.
Sure. I definitely have been blessed to have an opportunity to work for a really fantastic manager. And I don't think that you can be a good manager until you really have, like you're saying, experience working underneath a fantastic manager that doesn't micromanage you, that encourages you to step outside the box and try new things. And because that's where learning happens, and that's where growth happens.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that was all just
awesome.
Really good stuff. So with that said, what are some of the things that you like least? Like, what about the opposite? What are the challenges that you face being an entrepreneur doing this work?
What is the most? Having to actually set aside the specific time and be structured. I guess that's why, being an entrepreneur, you don't have to be structured usually, because you're all over the place. But then to start building something, you have to start narrowing down time frames, and so I don't know. I think I just enjoy the challenge, I guess, of trying to work through that, and the building block, because that's what it is. It's like a building block. You start with a small little portion, and then you just keep adding your pieces around the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happening, and it's like I feel like I have a lot of answers, but yet even though I have the answers, I struggle to implement them, and so there's like phases even that all of us go through that we're in, and it's like trying to identify where each person is, so then you can then assist them. It's like it's a game. The whole thing is almost like a game. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, because some people think that, you know, my life isn't a game, like it's real. Well, yes, it is real. Um,
Right. No, I get it, what you're saying, for sure. So, well, if you were giving a piece of advice to someone who wanted to be an entrepreneur and you were going to tell them, this is what you need to fulfill your full potential, what would you tell them?
Find a mentor.
Okay.
Someone, but when I say not just any mentor, someone that you can relate with, someone that's easy to speak with, that you can have conversations regarding your ideas, and allows you to make mistakes, and doesn't tell you that you're wrong all the time, but kind of will direct you and guide you um, in certain directions, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a mentor?
Um, yes and no, just because it's not. I feel like I need to be more consistent, and the gentleman that I spoke about earlier, we're not on any like. There's no like agreement or like payment or anything that's happening. It's just out of love, really, out of caring, and so we call and talk to each other maybe like once or twice a month, and so if those to be more consistent, like once a week, things would progress probably faster. Um, and so I mean that's just where I'm lacking right now.
Mm-hmm. When you need information, you want to learn something new related to your business or to entrepreneurship, you need help, support with your business, where do you go for the answer?
Um, it's a great question, because I find it's hard, because we live in a society where there's information in abundance, right? Anybody can be an expert on any particular topic just from them, like they can regurgitate information they've already heard. I mean, and it's not necessarily that's not wrong. Um, I would look for somebody who has been in the field, who has experience in the specific things that you are doing, and ask if they have availability to speak, to ask them questions, and or like read their books, which is why I mean writing a book is probably one of the best things you can do once you feel like you have enough information, or you are an expert in a particular field. It's important that you are writing and you are journaling your process as you are becoming an entrepreneur, or as you're becoming a founder, or as you're working, because the notes and stuff that you're taking will be the groundwork, or the guardrails, or how I don't know. They'll be like the beginnings of someone else. Um, Trying to think
Mm-hmm.
how else to finish. I feel like I'm pausing, like dead in the center of the thought.
That's okay. No, I think that that's really good. And I love how you put that with encouraging others to document their process so that they can help others. I agree with you on that. and it's actually really good. Really good. I'm actually making a note that inspired me with something with QUOKA, because I stand for that too. I think entrepreneurs should write books um, and do that. So thank you for the little inspiration.
You're
So
welcome.
yeah, in those situations, let's say you're going and you're finding out a problem, you're going to go read a book or talk to someone about the challenge that you're trying to overcome. Um, how long does it typically take you, just on average, to get the answer that you're looking for?
How long would it take to get the average?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, say it again. This someone was like driving by and I was distracted.
that's okay. So, how much time does it typically take you to get the information or the support that you need when you're looking for it?
That's too long.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk to you a little bit about some other questions related to your mental health. How would you rate your overall mental health on a scale from 0 to 10? 10 being the highest.
I mean, I'm a lot better now than I was prior. I'd probably say like a 6 or 7.
Okay. And how does,
Just
go ahead. No, please.
and that's just because of me dealing with. I have psoriatic arthritis. I was diagnosed with that. However, this is bad on me. I didn't. Well, it's not bad on me. I decided to not continue taking the medicine that I was on, and things have been good for the last 6 or 7 months, and now I'm starting to notice like symptoms are starting to reappear now, and uh, it was more of a mental thing even more than was it physical while I was taking the medicine, because it really solved all of the physical pain. It was gone, but mentally there was just like uh, I don't know how to say it. It just mentally it impacts you. It affects you, and um, but I am like I don't know. Now that I'm aware of it, I'm able to, I guess you could say, catch it and start positive. There's a lot of tricks that you learn along the way just to help yourself and to stay to keep the positive mindset going. But I tell you what, it's very difficult whenever you're surrounded by a bunch of people who just want to show up for work from 9 to 5 and then call it quits, because it's there really is like a whole nother. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, arthritis is like such a serious disease,
Hmm.
or health problem. People don't really understand until they know someone with arthritis, or they've seen like a video of someone who has it trying to do basic tasks. It just affects your entire day from the moment you
Yeah,
wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
yeah, and I'm thankful that the Humira is the medicine took care of most of the issues, and I was able to get moving again, I could function properly, and throughout most of the day, and I've been fine for like the 6 or 7 months. So it's just now recently I've started noticing like a few of those psoriasis spots are reappearing, and I'm like, no, I gotta change my diet, and I gotta be very, I need to be more particular about the things that I'm eating and be more strict. And I don't like being strict I don't like being like told, I guess, like what to do or what like specifics. um, and I'm laughing because I think that correlates with being an entrepreneur. At least the mindset people correlate. Like when you're an entrepreneur, you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and you're like the idea back in the day of an entrepreneur, which I think the stigma was that like, oh yeah, they don't know what they're doing. They're all over the place. They have no idea. You know, that's the, oh, what's so and so doing? Well, he's doing like, and they don't know what to say because they say like 5 or 6 different things, and they don't want to say more than one because when you say more than one, it confuses people. So you have to keep it to a minimum, and you have to, that's, or at least that's what we're told, right? And that's what we were told as we're growing up. But we're trying to change that stereotype.
Nice. I love that.
Would you agree?
I would agree. And I mean, stereotypes are, they're so embedded, but we have to do what we can to have people open up their eyes a little bit. And,
yeah,
I definitely agree with entrepreneurs wanting to do what we want to do when we want to do it. I have that mindset for sure. Yes. Okay. So you rated your mental health at a 6-7. How does that make you feel that you rated your mental health on a scale from 6 to 7? On a scale of 0 to 10. Do you think it's like 0? Wow, that sucks. It's at a 6 or 7, or 10. Like, that's pretty dang good. 6 or 7.
I think I'm doing pretty good considering what I'm handling. So, I'm gonna go with 10.
Okay. And then I'm gonna put up some choices here that you can choose from. Which of these are negatively impacted when you feel less than great mentally? Confidence,
Right now, the biggest one probably mental.
you can check off as many as you want.
Yeah, I feel like it goes in order almost for me. Like if it's like one, if I can, see, that's another practice. Like if you can get good enough to catch yourself, like if you know what you're thinking about, and then I don't know if you've ever done this before, or anyone else that ends up listening or listening, but if you can catch your thought process and see like where you veer off whenever you start having like a depressed or you feel depressed, like what's your next action that you end up taking. And that's usually the one that's going to tell you like, but I would say all these are affected. It affects all of them. But to like what degree does it affect them?
Right. Well, negatively.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I think it affects all of them negatively in a sense. So I wouldn't be able to even answer my own question that I posed because I haven't gotten that far yet, but I have gotten that I know that if I'm processing, or not processing, but wait, can you scroll back up?
Sure.
Again? A little bit more. Because you say, what aspects of your life are negatively impacted when you felt less than great mentally? Yeah, all of those areas are affected, but it's like it starts with whatever setting I'm in that moment. That's the one that it impacts, and then I have to realize that that's happening, and then stop it. And if you don't feel like trying to control yourself or just dealing with it, then it's just a loose cannon, you know? It's just like out there.
Agree. Yeah. Okay, so for these next ones, we're choosing whether items have a positive, neutral, or negative effect on your mental health. Social media, positive, negative, no effect.
Negative at the moment, could be positive.
The news,
Negative.
family,
um, mm, mm, uh, I'm gonna say no effect at the moment.
friendships,
Depends on which ones. Negative.
work,
Some of them are negative, some of them are positive. Um, um,
what about work? Positive,
reread
negative.
the. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Does work have a positive, negative, or no effect on your mental health?
I would say positive.
Volunteering and giving back,
Positive.
romantic relationships.
Positive. Well, no effect at the moment, really.
You're fine. Single as a Pringle. Which has the most positive effect on your mental health? Only choose one.
Dang it. I feel like I need to say an answer. So, which is the most positive effect on mental health? Man, at this moment in time, right now, would just probably be work. Just because I know that since I'm doing something, I'm taking action, and by taking action, regardless if it's wrong, I'm still learning, and so it's positive because of that.
How many hours a week do you spend working?
I don't know if that's a good thing. I'll probably gotta trap myself. How many hours per week do you spend engaging in the activity that has the most positive effect on my mental health? Well, in a sense, it's like all the time, and you don't really stop. Um, but let's say probably 40 hours just to work regular work week.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do to support or manage your mental health?
So we have conversations with my friends, and I speak. Yeah, we speak candidly, pretty openly about that. Few a few of us, and then I also. But it wasn't easy at first. It wasn't just like I just started blabbing. I had to. You have to. It's difficult trying to be vulnerable, but it's worth it in a sense because you're going to allow yourself to grow the most. So that, and then just being intentional with other people allows me to Wait, what was it? Like, I want to use a specific word, and I'm forgetting the word that was in the question.
How or what do you do to help support or manage your mental health?
So, by uh, by being vulnerable and allows me to grow, that helps support and manage my mental health with my friends. Being intentional with other people, yeah, and being vulnerable allows me to grow and manage my mental health.
Yeah. Do you use any applications or websites to help support your mental health?
I would say probably just actually reading scripture, trying to read scripture. I need to do more of that, but
Can you tell me about a time you felt mentally unhealthy or imbalanced?
4 or 5 years ago in a relationship.
What do you think triggered you to feel mentally unhealthy or imbalanced?
The constant insecurities that we both have or had, and not knowing how to handle them, and just weren't mature enough, immature.
You mentioned you talked to friends about your mental health. Do you talk to anyone else? Family members, counselors?
Probably family member. Check.
How often do you speak to your friends and family members about your mental health?
Probably not enough, so I'd say sometimes.
Do you talk to them in person, virtual meetings, phone calls, text message, all the above?
In person, phone call, probably.
What support do you need that you're not receiving to help manage your mental health?
I don't know. I should have asked, what do you define mental health as first? Has anybody ever asked you that?
I would say I probably define it as feeling stable, feeling balanced, feeling capable, feeling good, happy, not down, having a positive outlook, feeling like things are going right,
Mhm.
that things are normal, you feel understood, listened to.
Um, what support do I need that you are not receiving to help manage your mental health? Uh, I mean, I feel. I don't know. That's a good question. I want to say like a particular thing, but then as soon as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I want to say it. I'm like, nah, then I wouldn't want to do it. Well, you're writing that.
It's I'm sorry. I'm just researching, taking notes.
You're not receiving to help manage your mental health. What support do you need that you are not receiving to help manage your mental health?
That's actually a really great answer. I think if you want to leave it there, you don't feel like you have to be pushed. I mean, we are live on the internet.
No, okay. I mean, back to my first answer, right? That I said about being vulnerable. Um, I mean, it'd be cool to have if someone was technically checking in, obviously on you each day, but then, that would be for a service like that, what would someone pay somebody to do that? And then at that point, wouldn't a loved one do something like that, you would think? But that would be pretty judgmental. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to make anyone think that they have to do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel that. What would you expect to pay for a platform like that where it's creating a positive impact on your mental health?
How could you rate? How could I guess like are you gonna ask like how can how could they determine the value that they're getting? Would there be a metric for that? I don't know. I wouldn't be able to say because I mean, each person should want to give more than what. It depends on the value that you're bringing to that person in that moment.
So if it's creating a more positive impact on your mental health, how much would you expect to pay?
Okay. At least $10 a month.
This is my last question here. When thinking about the mental health of people you know, how do you think most of them would rate their mental health on a scale from 0 to 10?
Five, 4, 5.
Okay, great. Do you want to be added to my mailing list about this project?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I really want to thank you, Dustin, for taking the time. Is there anything that I can do to support your work?
I mean, you are right now by allowing me to be able to answer these questions and complete the interview. But I'm sure moving forward we'll stay in touch.
Yes, we will stay in touch. You reach out to me with anything you need, and I hate to run off like this, but I got another call right after. This was with another founder.
Okay. Oh well, it took a lot longer than expected. All right.
Let's catch up. Let's have a normal a coffee chat or something like that.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay, cool.
I like that.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.